This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Janet is away. We begin with breaking weather news tonight. Environment Canada has already confirmed 2 tornado touchdowns today in Manitoba so far. Let's go right to CBC meteorologist John Sauter. John, what's the latest?
Well, thanks, Riley. We've got a very active warning and watch map here behind me. Now, through the day today, this whole shaded red area has been in a tornado watch because conditions were ripe for the formation of tornadoes. And we did see that in a couple of locations around the south. Now, the shaded yellow areas, that's where we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, and including right here in Winnipeg, although that storm is just pushing off to the east side of the city right now. The main line of the storms is rolling right through the Red River Valley and out into southeastern Manitoba tonight. And I say storms because when you look at the lightning that is involved in these in this line of showers and storms, it is very intense. Main threats would be golf ball sized hail, downpours to the tune of 50 millimeters, and some very gusty winds as well. And of course, lightning and the odd tornado. I'll be back to show you some video of one of the tornadoes that touched down earlier today in southern Manitoba. Riley?
Thanks, John. A First Nation family of a boy who drowned behind a home in Portage-la Prairie is looking for answers. The toddler was in the care of Child and Family Services, and that has his biological family now wondering what happened. Stephanie Cram has the story.
Holding a small stuffed toy bear, the mother of a 2-year-old boy who drowned in a retention pond in Portage-la Prairie says she'll soon lay him to rest.
Just knowing that he's going to be in the spirit world resting, and I don't know how I'm going to tell my other children how their sibling passed away.
The toddler was in the care of Saugeen Child and Family Services. That's why CBC is not naming him or his family.
This little brown bear here is going to get buried with him, and I have a spare one that was gifted to me from the workers and the foster family to have a memory of him.
Portage RCMP say on the evening of June 19th, they responded to a call of a toddler who drowned in a retention pond behind a residence on Old Bridge Road. That night, the mother says she knew something was wrong.
My mother instincts kicked in Monday night. I couldn't sleep, kept tossing and turning. I knew something was wrong.
The family says they plan to sue the CFS agency. The aunt of the toddler wants to know how this could have happened.
What is a 2-year-old boy doing wandering by himself at 7:20 at night? Whether it was a family gathering, a family picnic, it doesn't matter what was happening. You know there's a retention pond right there.
The mother of the toddler says she too was a child in the CFS system. She says she suffers from PTSD and postpartum depression. All of her children were apprehended at birth despite the province banning the birth alert practice in 2020.
Why are they still apprehending kids from the hospital when there's no more birth alerts? Like, I had everything prepared.
The aunt says the CFS system is doing more harm than good.
CFS is the new residential schools. It's harsh to say that, but that's what it is. In my eyes, you're ripping these children away from their families. You're colonizing them. They're not getting able to know their culture.
The Saugeen CFS agency says they are unable to confirm the death of the toddler due to legal reasons. The Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth say they are investigating the death. Stephanie Cram, CBC News, Winnipeg.
For the second time in just over 2 years, thousands of frontline Manitoba Hydro workers are on the verge of a strike. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers issued a 48-hour strike notice this morning. The union represents 2,300 Hydro staff. These same workers went on strike in spring of 2021 over a provincial government directive to Hydro to freeze wages. The union says its main sticking point is once again wages. The current contract expired in February of last year. The IEBW says it has an essential services agreement in place. Police are crediting a Manitoba victim in his 20s for helping investigators bust a Canada-wide sextortion scheme. That is where people send intimate images online and then face threats that the photos will be shared unless they pay up. A 21-year-old Winnipeg man is now charged with multiple counts of extortion after several more victims were identified across the country. And as Josh Crabb reports, it is a growing problem.
He thought he was sharing intimate images of himself with a woman, Winnipeg police say a Manitoba man in his 20s was then told to send money or the photos would be shared online. Officers say he did and never heard from the person again. Sergeant Trevor Thompson says the report that man made to officers in January sparked a cross-Canada investigation.
Had that initial victim not reported to the Winnipeg Police Service, we wouldn't be standing here today.
In February, 3 more victims were identified and a Winnipeg man was charged with 4 counts of extortion. Police later linked the accused to similar crimes across Canada. 6 additional victims were identified in Manitoba, Alberta, Ontario, and Prince Edward Island, and more charges were laid.
On June 11th, 2023, a 21-year-old male from Winnipeg, Tongan Justin Tongan, was charged with 6 additional counts of extortion, bringing the total to 10.
Investigators say the 10 victims in this case are young men or teenage boys. Experts say they're often victimized in sextortion cases because they believe they're communicating online with a woman or girl. Police allege the money sent by victims to the accused in this case was then transferred overseas, which leads them to believe these crimes have international ties.
We know from our work with international partners that those committing these crimes are often part of organized criminal networks who have figured out that there's money to be made by manipulating and blackmailing kids and young adults.
Stephen Sauer, the director of cybertip.ca, the national tip line for cases of sextortion, calls it a public safety crisis. In the past 12 months, it's received more than 3,400 reports. The organization has also seen a nearly 50% increase in sextortion victims seeking help over the past 6 months. That's around 80 victims per week and more than 11 per day, but most cases go unreported. Sauer says they're often linked to popular social media platforms such as Snapchat or Instagram and can have a devastating impact on victims. He wants legislation to require more regulatory safeguards to prevent it from happening to more people. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Now, Stephen Sauer says if someone threatens to share your intimate images, cut off communication, block them, and never pay any money, then call police or make a report to cybertip.ca. A man found guilty of killing his ex-girlfriend's 3-year-old son has lost an appeal of his first-degree murder conviction. Hunter Smith Strait was fatally stabbed in October of 2019. The little boy died days later. Daniel Jensen's lawyer argued in March the jury should not have been shown video of Jensen assaulting Hunter's mom before the murder. The Court of Appeal dismissed the case. Hunter would have turned 7 years old this month. A new Indigenous-owned restaurant in Thompson is filling bellies and helping grow the economy in the north. Mamawi Tak Friendship Center's restaurant opened this spring. It is one of 2 new Indigenous-owned restaurants to set up shop in recent months. Rachel Bergen stopped by.
Welcome to the Friendship Center. We actually have homemade food. Nothing's processed, so it's all fresh vegetables cut up every day for your stews or your soups. It's all fresh meat that's going for our fresh burgers every day.
There's a lot of franchise food, of course, if you like pizza, burgers, but if you like home cooking, this is the place to go.
I think just our environment is different. Everywhere else you go, it's more like a sports bar. There's lots of TVs, there's lots of noise. Like for us, we only have the one TV, and it's more of a common area for elders and seniors to gather.
To give you a bit of context, like even with the soup, bannock was the side, delicious, so there's an Indigenous angle to that as well. But for sure, recognizing that there is real Indigenous cuisine and highlighting that is perfect.
It's nice to see that we can still be successful, even though after all of what, we have been through, and to just rise up and be self-efficient and to be able to be affordable for the community. I think that's really a good thing.
John's back. That food looks really good. It looks really good about this time of the evening.
Yeah, sure does.
Active evening.
Very active day. It's days like this that make me hungry for food like that,
exactly.
because it's been running around like crazy, and on the radio with Faith and on Up to Speed, and it's been very busy. I promised you a look at some video. This was taken at about 1 p.m. today, just north, a couple of kilometers north of Gilbert Plains in the Dauphin area. And this is where the first tornado warning was issued. So, yeah, this one is obviously a confirmed tornado. A very narrow one that is reaching the ground and stirring up some dirt, that sort of thing. No word of any injuries or damage from this, but a very well-defined tornado. So thank you for whoever sent that in. That was Kimberly Perry on Facebook. So yes, all right. This is what we're looking at right now. The main line of showers and storms just moving out to the east side of Winnipeg right now and right down the Red River Valley down toward Emerson. And that's where we still have a warning. So the warning is now ended in Winnipeg. It is on the east side of the city, and most of the severe thunderstorm warnings are now along or east of this line, but we're getting a couple of little storms popping up down to the west that are producing some heavy rainfall rates. Remember, a severe storm has a rainfall rate of 50 millimeters in an hour or 75 millimeters within a 2-hour period, and then a certain size of hail, 2 centimeters in diameter. Well, today, the hail has been 2 to 4 centimeters in diameter, more like golf ball, even baseball size. So this storm will continue to travel down to the south and east in the southern part of the Red River Valley. And if we get a little bit closer, you can see the rain is now wrapping up in the Winnipeg area. Barely saw a drop here. The streets are wet downtown, but apparently the south end poured for a short period of time. Now, if we look at the vertical development here, you can see this is a very tall line of storms, a very active updraft and downdraft in these storms. So now you're looking to the east toward the Kenora area. And as we flip around and look back to the west, turn it around and look back to the west, you can see that there still are little pockets of storms, but they are much smaller and they're just not carrying as much energy. All of this will continue to move off to the east. After I show you the current conditions, 21 right now. We did get to a high today of 28. Yes, all of this will continue to move off into southeastern Manitoba. So Whiteshell, Sprague, Piney, you're going to see your storms as we move through the evening hours, and then this will continue to move out to the east into northwestern Ontario. Tomorrow, not so much in the morning, but certainly in the afternoon, some scattered showers. The energy for severe storms is not there tomorrow, so I think if you hear some thunder, see some lightning, it will be short-lived and really pulse or isolated type storms. And then on into Friday, we're just seeing high pressure build in and clear us out for the weekend. And I'll show you a long-range forecast in a little bit. But tonight, 16 degrees, 18 or 19 in the morning, a chance of a shower, a slightly better chance by mid-afternoon. It wraps up by supper time, a high of 24 degrees. Very warm across the north tomorrow and lots of sunshine, 27 in Churchill and sunny. And for the rest of us, not as much of a chance of a shower out to the west, just some scattered showers. Also through the Red River Valley, some scattered showers tomorrow. I think Portage and out into Ontario is really where we see the higher chance for some afternoon showers. Temperatures will be a little bit cooler in northwestern Ontario, and you've got a slightly higher chance of showers with a risk of a storm. That 7-day forecast is still to come.
All right. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Roddy.
Well, more than 1,000 people gathered at Assiniboia Downs on Winnipeg's west side today to celebrate Eid al-Adha. The celebration of sacrifice lasts for 3 days and coincides with the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca. We stopped by Eid celebrations this morning. Have a look.
This is Eid al-Adha. It's the second Eid that we have. It's known as the Feast of Sacrifice. It happens 2 months and 10 days after the first Eid. And as people are at the Makkah doing their Hajj pilgrimage, anyone who's not there is celebrating Eid here.
Today people are here for a communal prayer to start their day, which will, continue with festivities all day long. And, people just come together in a world where, it is marred by so many geopolitical crises at the moment.
Allah Akbar. It's the second Eid of the year. It's a joyous occasion for the community. Everyone's coming out to Assiniboia Downs. Actually, there's, I think, over 10 prayers this year happening across the city. So it's a great time for family, for friends, for community, for food, and for charity. This Eid is really about charity. It's about giving back to the community. So it's a really joyous occasion for everyone. And I'm honored I can be. As a Muslim, I'm here, of course, but as a Minister of Sport, Culture, and Heritage, it's a double honor for me.
It's very fun and it's very nice. It's just like Christmas for you guys, it's right for us. So it's a very nice thing to do, to be here with everybody.
Allah Akbar.
Okay, if you've been into Ontario in the last year, you want to check your sock drawer, your glove box. A lottery ticket worth $70 million remains unclaimed. You've got until the end of tonight to find it. That story just ahead. You're watching CBC Winnipeg News. All right, so imagine you've had $70 million sitting in a sock drawer for a year and you didn't even know it. You'd probably be doing what almost everyone in Toronto's East End has been doing today, checking their pockets, their wallets, their glove boxes, everywhere for a winning Lotto Max ticket that is set to expire tonight. Now, we know it was sold in the Scarborough area, but so far no one has stepped forward to claim it or even check the numbers. Dale Manukduk brings us the story.
Easy Boy furniture and accessories for your living room, bedroom, and dining room. And designers who will consult in your...
Best Deals owner Anil Sinwan says the missing ticket is the talk of the town.
Good conversation. I mean, people come and just talk about it. And they say, well, I wish I have it.
The ticket should be validated through OLG's lottery terminal by 10:30 p.m. If not, there are other ways of verifying a lost ticket. OLG has information about it that nobody else has. All they've told the public is that it was sold in Scarborough, where there's over 400 authorized retailers.
You have to tell us exactly where it was sold in Scarborough. And then you have to tell us, what else did you buy with that ticket? Did you buy other products? How much did you spend? Do you play these numbers regularly? Or is this a quick pick?
The OLG says it's not uncommon for winners to wait weeks or even months to claim a winning prize, but usually both the winner and the OLG would know ahead of time that the winning numbers had been checked.
We see when there's activity on the OLG app or on the ticket checker. And in this case, there's been no activity on that ticket since the day it was sold.
Nearly 900 people have called or contacted OLG about losing the ticket or to just inquire about it. Until it's claimed, people can only dream of what they do with the winnings.
$70 million, I'll give some to my family.
I'll buy a home. It's the first thing, and takes lots of trips. If possible, buy a home here and buy a home where I'm from.
If it remains unclaimed, Sinwan hopes the person is spared future pain.
I wish he don't find it. If he has it, and if he finds it after, his life is going to be hell. I mean, that's like, it's better, he don't find it.
CBC's Dale Manukduk. Air quality warnings have been issued across much of the country. Smoke from wildfires is making breathing outdoors tough for millions of people. Many parts of Ontario and Quebec are most directly impacted, as are northern parts of our province. And as Ethel Musa explains, smoky conditions could linger for several days.
This is what millions of Canadians woke up to today. Gray, hazy skies, all thanks to smoke from wildfires burning in Ontario and Quebec.
I thought it was going to be sunny today. That's what I was expecting. And then when I came out, I was like, oh, right.
This outdoor cafe owner in downtown Toronto says the pollution is affecting his business and his health.
I just feel a little bit more fatigued.
Environment Canada rated the air quality in many parts of southwestern Ontario as high risk. It's so bad the City of Toronto has suspended outdoor activities at early learning and childcare centres, and it's moved some recreation programs inside. These demonstrators want more to be done to combat climate change, which they say is the cause of all this air pollution.
I have a young daughter at daycare who's not going outside today because the air quality is so bad. I'm pregnant. This air quality is really bad for my unborn child.
In Windsor and Chatham, Canada Post has paused mail deliveries to keep carriers safe. Experts say small children, the elderly, and those with medical conditions should also consider staying indoors.
Wildfire smoke is among the most dangerous forms of air pollution. They can travel really long distances, they can get into our lungs, even into our bloodstreams, our organs, and our brain, and they have all sorts of effects on our health.
Across the border in Detroit, residents are dealing with some of the worst air quality in the United States. Smoke from Canadian wildfires has also made its way to cities like Chicago and New York.
It is unsafe to be outdoors, use a mask, and pay attention to the alerts.
Public health experts say people should avoid strenuous outdoor activities during this smoky weather, and some residents may even want to wear an N95-type mask to avoid breathing in smoke particles. Ethel Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
I want to bring you some breaking news now. Assembly of First Nations chiefs have just voted in the last few minutes to oust Roseanne Archibald as national chief. The motion to oust her passed with 71% support. This amid calls for her removal after a workplace investigation concluded she harassed and retaliated against staff. Olivia Stefanovic reports.
We are going to stare this straight in the face and kick colonial policies to the curb.
Since Roseanne Archibald was elected 2 years ago as the first female national chief of the Assembly of First Nations, she presented a challenge to the status quo.
The glass ceiling has been broken.
Now, her leadership is being challenged for the second time within a year. The dispute began last June when 4 of Archibald's senior staff filed bullying and harassment complaints against her, followed by the AFN's then CEO, bringing the total number of complainants up to 5, 4 of them women. Regional chiefs responded by launching an external workplace investigation and suspending Archibald.
I need to be reinstated fully.
Chiefs in Assembly reinstated her after Archibald struck back, calling the probe into her conduct misogynistic and a smear campaign designed to distract from her campaign for a forensic audit. The workplace investigation concluded earlier this year. It found Archibald harassed 2 of her senior staff members and retaliated against all 5 complainants. Findings Archibald rejects.
First Nations people choose to govern themselves.
The Prime Minister declined to take a position when asked about the dispute today.
I can assure you that this government will always be there to work with the Assembly of First Nations and their leadership, regardless of what various positions or who wins or who does what within that leadership.
Regional chiefs are asking First Nations leaders gathered at a private virtual meeting today for their support in removing Archibald. The historic vote could spell the end or extend her political career. Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News, Ottawa.
Meteorologist John Sauter is back with his 7-day forecast after the break.
Well, here's another look at radar and lightning tracking. You can see the main line of rain and lightning is moving out onto the east side of the city. There is one rogue storm down here near Notre Dame de Lourdes and Treherne, just to the south near Manitou. A couple of cells, actually. Severe thunderstorm warning there. But again, the main heavier rain is now moving out toward Beausejour, where we now have a severe thunderstorm warning. So some showers tomorrow and then clearing for the weekend and possibly a few more showers on Monday, but it is going to be a sunny and warm Canada Day long weekend. And public art can be a laugh.
Yes, and to prove it, the city of Saskatoon is rolling out a big red ball of fun. That is our Daily Lift.
What is the most fun thing about this?
This is one of the most fun things about this.
This massive inflated ball may be the world's longest running street art. It's rolled through city streets in Paris to Galway to Tokyo. The US-born artist behind it wanted to create a sense of play that encouraged people to enjoy the outdoors. That looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, would you just run toward it? And,
yes, just
bang?
like slam yourself into it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you at 11.
Take care.